This is We Have a Problem podcast. I'm Charles Hall, and to my left is my best friend, Diamond Hall. We are so grateful that you're tuning in. This podcast was designed to talk through leadership conversations, problem solving, life aspects for building, and the betterment. Take a moment, hit like, hit subscribe. It helps us to get the word out. It helps us to grow the page in the podcast for building and betterment. To that end, and with your permission, let's be good and let's build. Babe, I was thinking, and if we look at the landscape of leadership and living, it's different.
It is.
Completely different. When we grew up, everything was surrounded around church, if I'm honest. Even your work schedule, you took time off to go on the church trip. Your week was arranged around rehearsals or everything that was scheduled based on what was taking place at the church. So growing up, I believe our backgrounds look the same. We're in church a lot. And that means we were getting our information from our pastor.
Absolutely.
So life was governed, or aspects of our lives were conditioned based on what we learned while we're at church. When we grew up, I've noticed that a lot of our lives or our livelihoods was shaped around what we did throughout the week and what was going on at the church.
This is true.
If I can try to create the comparison, just for conversation's sake, I would call it the Vatican and the visionary. So if we're in the Vatican stage of things and our pastor is the Pope, and our livelihood is led by what's taking place or what's not taking place at the church or within the organization, we were in reach or waiting on what the pastor said. It's not that we didn't live our own lives. What the pastor said was gospel, which makes it somewhat like a Pope-initiated relationship. But now we're in the information age.
Absolutely.
We have visionaries. So we're not condensed to a few people telling us how to think, what's going on in the world, and how do we perceive, register, comprehend, and execute certain things. I somewhat see it from two different outlooks. You have the Vatican era, and now you have the visionary era. People have ideas that they would like to live out. People have dreams that they would like to execute, and it doesn't have to be fine-tuned based on gatekeepers that will try to keep you from pursuing your dreams.
Yeah.
So it may not be a pastor for other people. It may be the upbringing of a community that only said that you can do so much. And you were waiting on an institution to say you can do what you're trying to accomplish.
Wow, that's a good point.
But the visionary era is we have dreams, and not only do we have dreams, we want to execute them.
Absolutely.
That's why the Mark Twain statement for me is missing a piece. It doesn't mean that it's not beautifully stated, but if the two most important days of your life is when you're born and when you find out, what if I find out and don't do anything with it? So I think the third piece to that is when you're actually actualized in what you have desired to do.
Yeah.
So that's the visionary era. So as leaders, how do we not become tyrannical and lean into, I'm the Pope, and you're going to do as I say, and at the same time see people from a visionary standpoint, and they have dreams, they have ideas, they have things that they would like to accomplish, and not to demonize or demean them for having a vision.
Yeah.
So how can I lead with relational equity instead of a myopic view of who people can be based on how I've seen them before? Because people treat you how they meet you.
This is the truth. Absolutely.
People treat you how they meet you. So from its origin state, if you were one way, it's hard for people to unsee
How they first met you.
how they first met you. How can I meet you and as you're developing, meet the new you? Because if I don't give you grace to grow,
Yeah.
how can I embrace the new me? I'm not the same person that I was 10 years ago. It's not that I didn't like me then. I actually enjoyed the version of Charles that I am now. But if I don't embrace people's growth and development from how I met them, how can I embrace the new me? So from that place, I am trying to lead with relational equity. So how do we distinguish, okay, we're not in the Vatican era anymore. Mm-hmm. And we're in this era where people have dreams and they have visions. It's a visionary era.
Wow. This is a deep question. Because titles don't lend you the respect that it used to or mean what it used to, because information has leveled the playing field. Like you said, I don't need your permission to start the dream or the vision, but I'm really lending you the opportunity to have input, or I'm lending my service to you, hoping that I can grow or get something from it. And so if you look at that, the society has changed to where, what can I get from this relationship? So it just can't be transactional on your end where you're getting something from me. So I also want to be a beneficiary outside of receiving a paycheck, because I want to build and grow as well. I think leaders have to lead with empathy, some form of compassion, and it's lending your, like, if I feel that you care, if I feel that you're just, instead of the do what I say do because I told you to do it. There's a difference in leadership styles of just do what I told you to do versus the leader who says, hey, what do you need help with? And I'll help you along the way until you become successful at it.
I really like that.
I'm more willing to give my service or to help you in any kind of way because you're willing to help me as well. And so I think as long as the leader can keep that in mind, you'll get a lot more out of the individual. And that's called influence. And so you have to work the muscles of influence. What is it that you need? How is it that you need my help? And what ways can I help you grow? As long as the person feels that you care and you're willing to help, I think you'll get a lot more out of them. I think another aspect is, can they trust you? You know, this is another aspect of influence. Can your team trust you as a leader? Can they trust you to be consistent? Can they trust you to be competent? Because, again, information has leveled the playing field. And so they can go read a book. They can go look on ChatGPT. They go take a mastermind from anybody. But they've given you the opportunity to lead them. And so what this means is that loyalty is just not, it's optional at this point. Can I trust you to give you my loyalty?
This is good.
If not, even though the employer may feel like, hey, I hired you to do a job, I just need you to do it. The truth is, most likely the individual feels like I can go anywhere and do the same job. I really want to know if you care.
I really like that. I think that's where relational equity comes in.
When you say relational equity, Charles, can you actually dive into what that means or what that looked like? Because if I'm a leader, I might be thinking, I don't want to be spending my time, sharing stories with the individual who I'm paying to do a job. Like, what's a good boundary for you in extending or gaining relational equity? Sorry.
That's a really great question. And for me, it's layered because you can't treat everybody the same. So it all depends on the individual. And as you stated earlier, I want that person to know that I care. I try to treat people to let them know that they are valued and that they are valuable. And from that premise, I set myself up to just help. And if they don't receive the help, it doesn't change my value.
Okay.
If they don't adhere to what I'm sharing, it just doesn't make me less valuable. So I don't find it a waste of time if I've decided to dispense a certain amount of information, insight, tutelage, and at times, do you have to adjust? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But I don't go in with restraints. I go in with the right amount of you earning access, because you have to earn access in my world. You're not just granted full access. So from that premise, I go in trying to help, not expecting to get hurt, but if you dismiss what I'm trying to share, it doesn't make my wisdom or my tutelage or my value less valuable. So relational equity is built in real time with intricate and intrinsic implementations. I'm looking through you to see, okay, you're born, Mark Twain, you're born, and you know why. So that third piece for me is, how can I help you to perpetuate your purpose into, okay, now you know why you're born. Mm-hmm. How can I help you process? How can I help you progress? How can I help you to be activated in your purpose? So it's different for different people. Relational equity is built intentionally. What I've learned in this simplistic way of trying to depict both eras, that leaders give opportunity and bosses give orders. So if I'm leading you, I'm giving you opportunities for you to see through lenses of optimism and development as you grow and become a better version of yourself. But I've learned that bosses just give you orders. They tell you what to do, but a leader tells you how to do. A leader gives you tools to build with what you need to do. Leaders give opportunities. Bosses give orders.
Yeah.
In that relational equity space, how am I implementing things along the way to make sure that we are working towards where you're trying to get to?
Okay.
It truly depends on what the person needs. What I've noticed with leaders that I've spoken to, they will say, well, that's just not me. So if it's not natural, then you have to be intentional. If it's not natural, you have to be intentional. You have to go down your checklist, and you have to create that checklist based on benchmarks that an individual needs to reach or meet for them to operate in optimum outcomes or outputs. So from that, I go back to my list. If it's not natural, I can hold myself accountable based on a count.
Yeah.
Based on a check. Check. So.
But that wouldn't mean that you have to spend time with each individual employee. That would be like each leader's, like you're hiring leaders to have relational equity with other team members.
Very great question. It just depends on the setup or the organization. So if you're building leaders to build leaders, you just build those leaders so that they can build the leaders. So I'm investing my time in the leaders so that they can lead. So I'm not spread thin trying to do so much with everybody. It depends on how many people, what the need is, where people are. It's variables. You know, how do we define high level within the infrastructure, or what is the empirical data state based on metrics of what the organization or the company produces, and what's the next tier of what they're trying to accomplish. But I've seen if you build and empower and then deploy the right people, it takes some of the work away from you of having to do everything, but it gives those other leaders opportunities to function in their leadership skill sets. Wow. So you don't have to do all of the work.
Okay.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to do all of the work. This has been We Have a Problem podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one.